Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show. Before the free show, and I'm sorry to tell you that Ish is not
You made
here.
bail.
I did.
I'm glad.
It was questionable.
I was concerned. You
But-
gave me the call,
Yeah.
and you said, "Hey, I can't really explain it, but I'm indisposed.
Yeah.
I'm in jail." And I said, "Well, what for?" And then you explained it to me, and I was visibly shocked.
Yeah. Most
by-
people were. You should have seen my mom's face.
I'll say. And then you said, "Could I borrow $45,000?" And I said, "Well, why?" And you said, "Bail." And I said, "Well."
And that was only half of it. I tried to
Right.
split it up between two people.
I'm glad you found the other half.
Yeah, I asked Ish, and he just goes, no.
You can
And then that was the end of the conversation.
you can Venmo me that money whenever you get a chance.
Yeah.
Hello everybody. Welcome on into the pre-show before the free show. So where were you yesterday?
I was at the TCU Coaches Invitational or Classic. I don't remember what it was called. But the sales guys were playing in a golf tournament, and I
Mhm.
have a pulse and a set of golf clubs. So
You
I
can
was
follow the
asked to
mirror.
participate.
Yes, you were playing. You were playing in a golf tournament.
Golf.
They didn't ask me, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
They said it didn't go so well the last time they had you out
Can't
on the course.
I thought it was great. I had a great time. I got the same prize as the first place people.
Yeah.
So there's no way to tell me from the people who came in first.
They did bring that up. Rob was like, you
Mhm.
can't prove that we didn't get first place.
That's exactly
last
right.
time."
That's exactly
Um,
right.
But yeah, we did all right.
Yeah,
It wasn't spectacular.
it was a scramble, right?
It was a scramble. Yeah, 4 of us. And yeah, it didn't go great, but we definitely didn't get last. Like there was a team that we left before the awards, but I know there was a 71 on the board. They put us down for a 64. So like, I think it went decently well.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. I have I might sneeze. I'm thinking about it. Okay. So, I have a new investment that I've made, and I'd like to discuss it with you
Oh, okay.
as my financial advisor.
That's what I do. Yeah.
And by investment, I mean I'm doing something for free, and I might afterwards renew my subscription.
Okay.
Which is, so you got the Netflix.
I do.
And you got the I don't know what else you have. I don't know your life.
Yeah. I do have. I have a Netflix account.
okay,
I've got people for other things.
So I have a new subscription in my life,
Ooh.
and I
okay.
believe this is a sponsor, or at least was at one point a sponsor of Texan Live. So I don't necessarily mind shouting them out on air.
Okay.
I have a subscription to Panera bread. Do
Oh,
you know
like
what this is?
The restaurant?
Yeah. Do you know what this is? They're doing this new bit, and the new bit is for $8.99 a month,
Mm-hmm.
unlimited coffee.
I didn't know that Panera had coffee, which it makes sense that they do.
I mean, they have like it's a bakery, so it's like they
Yeah.
have coffee and stuff like that. And yeah, so now the other thing is that like I think for the promotional period, like you get like 3 months free, and so it's like, oh well, I'll take free coffee
for
for
3 months. Yeah.
Like especially because there's one up the road from us,
Mhm.
kind of on the way in. I can stop and grab one, and so I've done it, and I don't know, It's interesting. I've now had it a couple days in a row. And I
Okay.
mean, I'm drinking a lot of coffee these days because
It's magazines. If you're ever going to subscribe for free coffee, magazine season is when you'll get
Right.
your free money's worth.
Right.
Are you going iced coffee or is it just hot coffee?
No, you can get iced coffee. You can get hot coffee. You can get
Okay.
specialty coffees.
Oh, okay.
You can get from
That was
apparently,
the other thing.
From
I
what I
didn't
understand,
know,
you can
like-
get any of the coffee drinks.
Wow.
From what I understand. Now you know me. I
Okay.
drink black coffee.
Yes,
I'm.
we're
fact-
on the same team there.
In fact, I am probably I'm exactly their target demographic, which
Mhm.
is somebody who's going to get the cheapest thing that they have.
Exactly.
And
Which
yeah,
is just
I mean, yeah.
dark
Coffee-
roast.
coffee costs them
black
1
coffee.
cent.
Yeah.
And it's like, sure, dumb.
But yeah, they're fearing the college girl who
Mhm.
drinks basically
the triple
just sugar
mocha
with a
frappuccino
bunch of whipped cream
with
on
the whip
it.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. They have some specialty coffee drinks, but yeah,
Mhm.
I've stopped the past couple of days off there. It's a unique concept. It's a
Okay.
unique concept, and it had me thinking about kind concepts like for our subscription package.
Yeah, the Jelly of the Month
subscribe. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Obviously, we're an annual thing where you do it for like one. You pay X dollars for a year, and you get the 2 magazines and years worth of content at TexasFootball.com.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking outside the box, like, I do wonder, could we do something like, let me ask you, like, do you think there are people who would buy like a lifetime subscription to Dave Campbell's?
Yeah.
I think there would be too.
Yeah, that's like, okay, this is...
Here we go. But it's like for example, there's like alumni associations,
right?
Who
yeah.
are like, instead of paying your $100 a year to Mizzou,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then you just pay $1,000 once, and you're
right.
a lifetime member.
Well, and that's what I was like. This my example. The first thing that you said is fishing license. Once you turn over 18, you have to in order to fish, you have to have a fishing license.
Uh-huh.
So they have that. My cousin just turned 18 a couple months ago, and for her 18th birthday present, my uncle got her a lifetime fishing license, which is something she was pumped about. I know that you're looking at me weird, but it's almost one of those things. It's like, yeah, if I could just go drop $1,000 once, knowing that I'm going to do it for the rest of my life,
right.
then why not?
Right.
Then you don't have to worry about the hassle
it's
of renewing,
like, yeah,
especially in subscription territory.
Because I'll tell you this, and obviously there's a safety component to this, so you couldn't really do this. But if you were to say, hey, for X amount of dollars, let's say it's $150, your driver's license is done for the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely! Sign
I'd do
me up for that.
Now, but the problem is that the driver's license, you got to have like an updated address and stuff. So
right.
It's like, that may not necessarily be worth it. But like, think about those pains in the butt. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, okay.
Like going to the DMV is deadly.
But if somebody were to go to me and say, all right, for $500, free oil changes for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
I'd be like,
yeah.
I don't know. Panera, you got me thinking. It's not just the coffee that sparked my brain. So. All right, hit the theme expo. Let's go! Free money! Free
How to sing blue baby. Shot glass in your hand.
Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine. TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com or on Facebook, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's back from her vacation. It's Ashley Pickle.
Hi.
You got some pottery this weekend.
I did. It's
Where
on
is
the
it?
desk.
Oh, you may grab it. Hold on.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of coffee remnants in there. But yeah, when I showed up, so yeah, here. Get a good shout out here. When I went home on Friday after the show, my mom says she walks up and she has this gift bag and she's so excited for it. And I'm like, okay. And so anyway, the art teacher at my mom's elementary school made this Duchess of the Dork coffee cup for me. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Thought it was
Did she
awesome.
put it in a kiln?
I
think the word kiln is fun. I like the word kiln.
Well, I'm happy you got to say that. But yeah, shout out Miss Christy Foley for making that.
Cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Today is Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. It is 212 days till Thanksgiving, episode 1153, 1153. This is the Ross Wolf episode. On today's show, my friends, we are going to talk with William Wilkerson, coming up here in just a moment, about his article up on TexasFootball.com about which Texas high school football recruit he would pick to start his team with, his 2022 recruit. So we'll talk about that. And then back half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about what we did this weekend, about our trip to Llano,
Yay.
to Llano,
Llano.
to the Texas High School Barbecue State Championships. We're going to be doing a little bit of content over the course of the week on this, but we'll kind of give you our first
This is
impressions.
a sneak peek. Yeah.
Our first impressions, and we'll hear from the president of the Texas High School Barbecue Incorporated. It's a 501c3, but they run the Texas barbecue competitions, high school barbecue competitions. Chuck Schoenfeld, who was our very, very gracious host while we were down there in Llano. So we'll hear from him coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Allison Brown, Rob Hadaway, Tony Blaylock, and Mike Herda said, listening from the quantum of the Seas cruise ship out of Singapore. So, we're...
So wait,
our faces are...
Wait. So not only... Here's the funny thing. Okay, so he's on a boat.
Yes.
It's
A
out of
cruise ship.
Singapore, so different country. But also, he is technically... like, not in a country right now at all.
No, international waters.
He's in international waters. Dude, you can do whatever you want.
I was like, there are
no rules.
No rules in international water.
Oh, man.
And-
You're living that maritime dream.
And while he's doing that, he's listening to our mediocre podcast. Like, what a true fan.
This is what I'm talking about when I say global reach. We not only want to go to Singapore, we want to go off the shores of Singapore. That's right.
National
Anyway.
waters.
Thanks for tuning in.
That's like the cool. I had to. That's like the coolest tune-in message we've gotten.
Okay. Very, very
I'm
cool.
good with
Thanks for
saying
doing that. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If I look tired, it's because I am. That is because I've been up late working on the 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Please do not make my death be in vain. TexasFootball.com/subscribe to get your 2021 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football mailed directly to you before it hits newsstands. You also get a year's worth of exclusive online content at TexasFootball.com/subscribe, including Tep and Step, our premium high school football podcast. You get predictions for every Texas high school football game. You get, what else? You get rankings of every Texas high school football team. All sorts of great stuff. A lot of great stuff for insiders only, including Matt Sepp's weekly This Week in Texas High School Football. You get access to our small college power rankings, all sorts of great stuff at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Pickle, I don't know about you. Kind of feels like, oh no.
No.
Do we not have the video?
Hang on. I bet I can get it. Ha! Go.
Pickle, I don't know about you. Feels like it's getting hot in here. Hot Take Tuesday. Hot Take Tuesday, where we invite a member of the Dave Campbell's Texas football staff to hop on with us and defend their hottest take of the week. And we go to the hotline, Pickle, to bring in the digital director of Dave Campbell's Texas Football on TexasFootball.com. If you like TexasFootball.com, it is this man's to his credit. And if you don't like it, blame Pickle. We are joined by the no longer single William Wilkerson. Hello, William.
But still ready to mingle.
Okay, just making sure. I just want to make sure of that. First and foremost, I don't know if I've talked to you in person, I guess not in person, but on the phone, since the nuptials, but congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If anybody knows of any divorce attorneys,
wow.
I'm already ready to get this
wow.
over with, so just let me know.
Moving quick.
Wow, okay.
Moving quick.
Yes.
Still ready to mingle.
Oof, boy, howdy. Do not, I really hope she is in the other room or out of the house. Okay. You've got a piece up on TexasFootball.com about the 2022 recruit that you would start your team with. Obviously, it's draft season. The NFL draft is coming up here this weekend, and so people are thinking about franchise players and who they want to take. I think there's a notion that especially in this class, 2022 is an outstanding quarterback class. That some people might say, I'm gonna grab Quinn Ewers, or I'm gonna grab Cade Klubnik. You have zigged when they zag. Who is the 2022 recruit that you would start your team with?
It's Kelvin Banks, the five-star offensive tackle out of Humble Summer Creek. I know that if people read this piece, which they should, it's by a terrible human being, but you just for argument's sake, click on it so we can get the click. I just think that he is a one-of-a-kind specimen. He is one of 2 5-stars that we have on TexasFootball.com rated in the 2022 class. Behind Quentin Ewers, he's number 2. He's 6'5", a solid 300 pounds, 6'10" wingspan. He's got plenty of room to grow in the weight room. I got the opportunity to see him in person at the Next Level Athlete Texas Top 100 Showcase that we had in Houston at the beginning of 2020. And it was unbelievable watching this kid in one-on-one drills. And one-on-one drills don't tell the whole story, but whenever you put on his film and you see what he can do with pads on, it's the same thing. You cannot get by this guy. So I just wanted to go against the grain a little bit. I think that the easy choice and probably the smart choice, if I'm being honest, would be to take one of those quarterbacks. As you had mentioned, Tep, this quarterback class in 2022 is out of this world with the likes of Ewers and Klubnik and Wegman and Nick Evers. I mean, the list goes on and on. You could choose any of those guys. And there are other offensive linemen that I mentioned in the story, Cam Dewberry being one of those from Atascocita. So you had plenty of guys to choose from, but I'm going to stick with Kelvin Banks. He's the best player that I've seen, in person, even better than Quinn Ewers, in my opinion. And I know that's not going to be a popular opinion, but that's what I'm going to go with.
It's certainly a hot take because there are some recruiting outlets out there who will have Quinn Ewers as not just the best player in the state of Texas, but also the best player. Some people have him as the top player in the nation in any state, anywhere in America. But at the same time, look, I think that there is an argument here. I'm not gonna roast you. I don't know if that's exactly the choice that I would make, but I'm not gonna roast you simply because how many teams do you see out there at any level, whether it's the high school level, the college level, the pro level, who are undone by a lack of protection off the edge, a lack of, but not having that guy who can protect the edge at Texas, or rather at the tackle spot. So
no doubt.
I think that when you take a look at Quinn Ewers, I want to be very clear. You're not necessarily saying that Quinn Ewers would be a bad pick. What you're saying is that having a guy like this that you can stick out there at left tackle, let's just say, and say, all right, you're there for 10 years. Guys, I think of like Tyron Smith, what the Cowboys did with Tyron Smith. Having a guy like that in Kelvin Banks kind of solidifies your team for the next decade or so, and you think that Kelvin Banks can be that kind of guy?
I do, yes, without question. I think in a couple of drafts down the road, I think he'll be shaking hands with Roger Goodell on the NFL draft stage. I think that highly of him. Mm-hmm. He's got a long way to go still, sure, but I think that he's on that kind of career trajectory, so to speak. I just think that he's there at left tackle. You put him there, you forget about him. If your quarterback's a right-handed quarterback, your quarterback's blind side is protected for a decade. And I just think that that's hard to pass up. You could go Quinn easy. I mean, I think that's really the obvious choice. I just decided to just throw some mud on it and just go a different route. And I think that if you're going to go a different route, there are several ways to go. But I'm going to go with the best player and the best tackle that I've seen personally in the 2022 class, and that's Banks.
And I gotta say, man, I would love to be able to argue with Will here and tell him that he's terribly wrong. But I was also at that Hot 100 camp, and him and I stood there together just in awe of what Banks could do. And like he said, it's one thing, and for me, it's always one thing when you can see him on the field just mauling over people. But the one-on-one drills, it was astronomical what he could do on those.
Yes, it wasn't even close.
He's Will Wilkerson. He's the digital director of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. So find his fine work at TexasFootball.com, where you can find his article about why he would take Kelvin Banks out of Humble Summer Creek to start his football team going forward. Will, appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
I will let you go and repair your relationship now.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye,
I'll
Will.
need it.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
Will Wilkerson here on Hot Take Tuesday here on Texas Football Today. An interesting piece up there on TexasFootball.com. And I don't know if he's necessarily wrong. I think that when you think about, again, you're thinking like NFL draft because it's that time of year. When you think about who tends to go in the first round at the very, very top of the draft, you think fundamentally two different guys, two different types of players. You think franchise tackles and you think quarterbacks. And yeah, I think that, and maybe I think there may be some people who look at this 2022 Texas high school football class and compare it. I think it's a good comparison to the NFL draft class of quarterbacks this year, right?
Right.
Where it's a really, really good, deep class.
Yeah.
I don't think they're wrong, but I also think that doesn't necessarily that doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't that you should ignore a guy like Kelvin Banks or Cam Dewberry or guys like that who are big-time franchise tackles. And yeah, I think Kelvin Banks, he decommitted from Oklahoma State. It's now wide open. We don't know where he's going to go, but he is a 5-star on TexasFootball.com/recruiting. I think it's a decent pick. I think I'd take Quinn Ewers. I think Quinn Ewers is probably the safer pick, but I also think that they can't go wrong with Kelvin
But
Banks.
in a perfect scenario, if you had 2 first-round picks, and then this might honestly, with such a deep class, be the perfect time to capitalize on something like this, because if you have a once-in-a-lifetime offensive tackle like Kelvin Banks, maybe you take that first and then know you're still going to get some sort of a superstar quarterback afterwards. It's almost like if there's any time to take someone off the beaten path a little bit, maybe now's the time to do it with just how deep the class does roll back.
Most certainly. So check out Hot Take Tuesday up on TexasFootball.com from our own Will Wilkerson. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You could follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. All right, Pickle. So this weekend, you and I took separate cars, but we did go the same place, which is you and me and Greg Powers, our recruiting analyst, traveled to this tiny town I'd never heard of.
Little podunk out of the way.
Called Llano, Texas. Down there in Llano. And we didn't go for football reasons. No. We went. Well, apparently we set the internet on fire about this.
We did.
The Texas High School Barbecue State Championships.
Yes.
The Texas High School Barbecue State Championships. We had heard that this was happening about a month ago. 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. About 3 weeks out.
And we said, well, we got to go. And so we did. I don't know, what were your, because I had almost no idea what to expect. What were your expectations going into it?
So, like when you and I were talking about it being more of a, it's a passive event. It's not like a football game where you show up, there's the game, and then it's over. And I had told you my expectations for it were a lot like if you've been to a stock show, going to a stock show. You've got a lot of things going on at once, and you kind of get to pick and choose where you're going to be. And that is very similar to what it was. But it was way bigger than I thought.
It was
way bigger.
It was enormous. I was going into this expecting, I'll be honest, I expected there to be about 12 teams.
Yeah, anywhere between 10 and 15. I was thinking, okay.
I had pegged for a dozen teams. We'd walk around, have a good time, talk with some people, in and out. There were, I believe, 63 teams at this thing. Okay? And before you think, oh, okay, well, I feel like I know what type of high schools have a barbecue team, you're wrong. Okay?
Yep.
There were tiny towns.
There were 1A schools.
Rankin was there. They had 3 teams. Rankin, we'll talk about them in a moment. O'Donnell was there, a tiny town. All these teeny little towns. And then also like Klein and Mansfield
Yep.
and San Antonio Madison.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
Mansfield Legacy was there.
huge, like these huge. Katie Taylor was there.
Atascocita was there.
There were every size of school was there. Whether you're talking about massive schools or you're talking about tiny schools. So everything from 6A to 1A was represented in this. Now, to be clear, this is not a UIL sport. Okay? It's not a UIL sport. This is it's run by an organization called Texas or High School Barbecue Incorporated. We'll hear from their president, Chuck Schoenfeld, here in a moment. But you go around, and the first thing that I think was most impressive was the rigs that these guys were dealing with. Okay, this is not your dad throwing the little charcoal grill out there and grilling up some burgers. Okay, this was these massive smokers that you would see at like
Cooper's Barbecue,
at like Heim,
Yeah.
like our buddy Travis Heim. You would see it there. It was remarkable, and you talk with these guys, and a lot of them made their smokers.
Yep.
We talked with the coach. Yes, there's barbecue coaches. We talked with the coach at Rankin. Rankin is that was the team we heard about, and that was the team we heard from multiple people say that's the team to beat.
That's a standard.
That Rankin is the standard. Rankin is the powerhouse in Texas high school barbecue. They had 3 teams there: a senior team, a sophomore team, and a freshman team. I want to say.
Yes.
And in talking with them, they thought that all 3 of them could win the whole thing, the grand championship.
And that's the other thing. Just to put this into perspective, we talked about the size of the school. Everyone competes against everyone. It
Yes.
doesn't matter if
Oh,
you
yeah.
have 50 people in your high school or you are Katie Taylor with an unbelievable number. Everyone competes on the same level.
Everyone competes. Yeah, it's just one competition.
Girls and guys, all of them.
And we talked with the coach at Rankin, and I said, "How'd you get into this?" And he says, "Well, I'm the welding teacher."
Yep.
And then we were like, let's make a smoker, and then let's make a barbecue team, and then now here we are. And so there are 5 categories that it's judge time, okay?
Yes.
And it goes throughout the day. They start cooking at like 6 a.m. I think you can fire up
You can fire up the
smoker.
pit at 5.
5. You can
Yeah.
fire it up at 5. And then throughout the
cooking starts at
day,
6.
like I'm gonna butcher these times, but it's like 10 a.m., 11:30, 1, 2, and 3 or something like that, or noonish, around there. But through the course of the day, different things are due. The first category is dessert. Now, we were not there for that,
No.
but we saw some pictures, and these desserts looked incredible.
Yeah, there was one that we were shown, and it was a whole thing of banana pudding, but they had like intricately designed like the state of Texas into the banana pudding.
There were
and
people
stuff.
who did like dump cake. There were people who did like the pudding. There were things
Yeah.
like that. But you could do all sorts of stuff, okay? That was the first one. The second one that's due is beans, okay? Okay. Let me tell you about this. We met up with the girls from
finger licking
from Klein.
or finger licking barbecue was
something
their
like
name.
that from
Yeah.
Klein. And by the way, probably about 25% girls.
Yeah,
Probably.
there were.
Yeah, I was thinking. Oh, this is me being a football guy. Sadly, I was thinking, there'll be a couple girls out there.
No,
no, it was like
really good showing.
probably a quarter of the field was girls. So we go and we talk with the girls from Klein, and I asked them like, "What's your best dish?" And they said, "Our beans."
Like hands down, no
That's
doubt
the one.
about it.
That's the one that we feel like we've got a great shot on. And I'm like, okay, well, beans. They let me try them. I mean this sincerely. They were the best beans I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
I've been doing beans wrong for my entire life, apparently, because
Yes.
these beans were incredible. Between that, so that comes out next. At noon, chicken was due.
Yes.
And that's where we kind of take a little bit of a detour here in our story. Because one of our party, one Greg Powers, got to judge it. That's right. We pulled up, we walk up, and we were like, we're looking for Chuck Schoenfeld. I wanted to introduce myself and stuff like that. We had been in contact with him.
Say, hoping we can get an interview with you later.
Right. We walk up, and they're basically saying, hey, we're still looking for judges for the chicken competition. So does anybody want to judge? I mean this sincerely. I have never seen Greg Powers that happy. I have never
Never
seen him
no.
that happy.
Oh yeah,
I don't think
there's-
I've ever seen any human that happy.
We are going to preface this too. We're going to put together an entire compilation video. I'm in the process of doing that now. We'll air it later this week. But there is prime powers in this video.
The joy
already.
on his face is uncut and unfiltered. It is amazing.
It was amazing.
So he got to try the chicken, and we'll talk with Powers tomorrow about it, and he'll tell you about the chicken. So that was due. Then at like 1:30 or so, the ribs were due.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I were walking around, and we had actually timed this really well.
Yes.
That like you turn in your ribs, but then there's like I think you only turn in X number of ribs, like 9 or 10.
Yeah, there's
like
a
that.
whole rack of them, and they have.
And they'll make like 2 or 3 ribs.
Yeah, and two, they judge you as well on how you slice them up.
Yeah.
So it's not just the cooking of it or
Sure.
the flavor or anything. It's how you present it as well. So we walked out right
And
at
we
that point.
tried 3 or 4 different kinds of ribs. I mean,
Yeah.
guys, some of these, I'm telling you, some of this barbecue you could put in a restaurant tomorrow.
Oh,
Like, it was incredible.
I think we were all in a girl. There was an all-girls team called the BBQties out of James Madison down in San Antonio, and those were some of the best ribs I've
They were so
ever
good.
had.
We tried them from there. We tried them from Van Vleck. We tried them from Rankin. We tried them from a few other places.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, these ribs were incredible. We left before the main event, and the main event at 3 o'clock, the briskets due.
Which we saw a couple of them.
We saw a couple of them. We saw them slicing it, and I mean, what I'm here to tell you is these student athletes, and I'll call them student athletes.
Yeah.
They are so good at barbecue. As a grown man, it is frustrating to me how good they are. It's frustrating to me. Like, how are you this good at this?
Yeah, it was amazing. And I mean, you could see, even if you think about it, like Rankin had the freshman team there. Those are theoretically, probably the oldest one is usually about 14, maybe 15. So you've got anywhere from like a 13 to 15-year-old range of these kids going out there and making better barbecue than most.
Then
anybody.
I'll say this comfortably. Than anybody listening to this.
Yeah.
Okay? These guys are incredible. These guys and gals are incredible. We did not stay for the awards. We weren't able to stay.
They
but
did post the
Did they?
finals. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can. Oh,
Yeah,
here,
look
let
'em
me,
up, 'cause
let me
I still
pull
don't
it
know
up
who
real
won.
fast.
It was, but it was an incredible event. Remarkably done, and I'm so excited about, and this is something that's like growing. It's something that's it's still in its infancy. It's worth mentioning that like one of the reactions you posted something about it, and one of the reactions like, I didn't even know this exists. I think that's okay. Like, I think that there's a lot that, like, it's still pretty young. I want to say this is like their third or
6th
year
Yeah.
of doing state championships, but it's grown every year, and it's something that's growing. It's truly Texan. It's an incredible event.
And not to give away too, you know what, Chuck says it in the thing, so I'll wait and bring that
Yeah.
up afterwards. But yes, for our final standing, they had 2 people tie for grand champion.
Okay.
It was the Smokin' Eagles out of Atascocita.
Oh, wow.
And the Bulldog FFA Barbecue out of Burnett.
Good for them.
And then reserve champion.
So second place.
Yes, reserve champion. The Barbecuties out of
Really?
James Madison,
Good for
the
them.
all-girl team.
Good for
yeah.
them. I was pulling for them.
And then in third place was the Pretty Pit Bosses out of Sweeney, which
Wow.
I don't know if that was another
I saw
all-girl
them.
team or
I
not.
saw them walking around. It was a remarkable event down there in Atlanta, out there outside the Kirkendall Center. And one of the things we did, we chatted with a lot of people. Pickle's putting together a package. We'll probably run it on Thursday here on the show. But one of the guys that we talked to is the president of the High School Barbecue Incorporated, the organization that runs the Texas High School Barbecue State Championships and the regional championships and all that fun stuff. Chuck Schoenfeld. Here's my conversation with Texas High School Barbecue President Chuck Schoenfeld here on Texas. So how did this start? How did the Texas High School Barbecue Championship start?
About 5 years ago, one of the culinary teachers at Burnett High School reached out to me. I was the president of an adult barbecue cooking association at the time, and they wanted to put on a high school competition, but they wanted to kind of mirror it around the way the adults did their competitions. So I got with him, and we had our first competition at Burnett High School 6 years ago now.
And now it seems like it's just exploded in popularity.
It has. Since then, we've gone out and become a 501c. We've got incorporated and became a 501c, I guess the way I should put it. And before COVID, we were getting between 30 and 40 teams per regional competition, which would have put us at about 120 at state. So it has exploded. I think next year, now that we're kind of getting on the backside of the COVID-19 virus, I think it's going to come back again. I suspect next year at regionals or at state, we should have probably 100 to 125 teams at state.
So you said you started with adult competitions or barbecue competitions. Does it surprise you how good these students are? Because I've tried some of the stuff. It's unbelievable.
Honestly, at first it did. But after being around these students for a good 5.5, 6 years now and watching them cook, they have some good mentors. A lot of them have competition cookers that are mentors. A lot of them have culinary teachers that are mentors. And a lot of them have been around it their whole life. And there's not a student out here that can't cook as well or better than most of the adults can. So at first it did, but not anymore. It does not.
Tell me about the scholarship aspect of this, because I understand that there's for teams that come out here and perform well, there's an incentive for them.
There is an incentive on our weekly regional competitions. Escoffier School of Culinary Arts gives a scholarship away to the first 3 place teams for each student. And then here at the state this weekend, we're giving away, Escoffier again is giving away scholarships to the first 3 place teams. And then we also at High School Barbecue are giving away about $10,000 worth of scholarships as well.
It's unbelievable. Okay, so now you've judged before out here as well. What's your favorite what's your favorite of the categories to judge?
Ribs.
Why?
I love ribs. I like the ribs. There's so many different flavor profiles. You got dry ribs, you got wet ribs, you got sweet ribs, you have just salt and pepper ribs, and I just like to taste the flavor profiles. And my favorite is the sweet. I like the sweet ribs. So.
Okay, so as the president, you make sure that you carve yourself out a judging spot though in the ribs, right?
I carve myself out of all judging spots. I have no choice.
Okay, now finally, one other thing. One of our guys, Greg Powers, jumped in and did the judging on the chicken. I know you haven't seen how he's judged or anything like that, but just, how difficult is it to judge a barbecue competition? I think everybody thinks, oh, it's great, I get to eat barbecue. How difficult is it to judge a barbecue competition?
It's actually very difficult because there's so many different flavor profiles. You may take a bite of one. It may be a sweet, salty flavor. You'll cleanse your palate with a cracker or pickle. Take a bite of the next one. It may be salty and pepper, salt, pepper, garlic blend. The next bite may be just all, salt. Who knows? It depends on your flavor profiles and what you like. But it's hard. What's hard for me to do when I judge is to base each tray on its own merit, because you want to compare it to the one you just took a bite out of and you don't. So you got to judge each tray on its own merit, and you have to make a decision whether it's worthy of a 1 or up as high as a 10. So, but just the different flavor profiles.
It's tougher than you think.
It's a lot tougher than you think. I would invite people, if they get an opportunity to come judge with us, to come out and try it sometime.
There he is, Chuck Schoenfeld. He's the president of Texas High School Barbecue Incorporated, the organization, the nonprofit organization that runs the Texas High School barbecue competitions across the state. It's a remarkable event, and you heard him say that because of the pandemic, the numbers were tamped down this year.
Yeah.
And that next year they could have
Up to
between 100 and 120 teams. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, walking around, first of all, smelled incredible, as you can probably
it was
imagine.
So great. I will say, even after I showered that night, woke up the next morning and was like, my hair still smells like barbecue, which is great.
Oh, no.
I had zero complaints.
When I got home, my wife was like, "You need to throw all those clothes in the wash right now." And I was like, "Yeah, that tracks." It was an incredible event down there at the Texas High School Barbecue state championships. Congratulations to Burnett and Atascocita, who tied for the grand champion. Which the 5 categories they take your score in all of them, and the winner gets. Oh, we didn't even mention the trophies.
I can't wait for y'all to see the some people saw them, I think, on Twitter.
I want you to think about what you think barbecue trophies are.
Yeah,
and you're probably right.
You'll see them.
It's great. It was an incredible event, and we appreciate Texas High School Barbecue for allowing us to crash their party and eat some of their food. And by the way, everybody was so friendly.
I was fixing to say
that's not surprising, but
welcome to Llano, Texas, first off. But the hospitality by everyone who was in charge, and just the people of Llano. It was a first class event. We really enjoyed going down there. We appreciate everybody for putting up with us sticking a microphone in their face. We'll have our compilation video so you can see it for yourself coming up here on Thursday here on Texas Football Today.
Now we go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Well, in one question we had earlier was, speaking of golf tournaments, when is there going to be a DCTF golf tournament? That was from Aaron Arbuckle. And I would like to throw that into the mix of things that you should.
I'm not going to play. I'll hang out. I'll drink beer.
Yeah.
Does that work?
I mean, as long as I get to go play golf, then yeah, that's fine.
What I'd rather do is I'd rather do like a Top Golf competition.
No, you know what we need to do, and we've said this. Well,
Laser tag. You're right.
cornhole.
Cornhole. Oh, yeah. Cornhole.
That's
That'd
a
be good.
legit thing that needs to
Cornhole
happen.
tournament.
Oh, can you imagine? Would y'all be down for that? Y'all want a cornhole tournament?
That'd be fun. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to William Wilkerson and Chuck Schoenfeld for being our guests. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. Tomorrow, the official state championship barbecue judge himself, Greg Powers, will join us on Texas Football Today.